Hi, welcome to Colleen's Corner. We're going to do a quick demonstration. Steve has been willing to join me.
Just call me guinea pig.
So he's our guinea pig, but hoping that this might actually demonstrate something. I've asked him to be very vulnerable and to show this red fabric is actually represents his eternal life. It's kind of endless. It's flowing off the sides. And this little center block actually represents 100 years. This is his life here on earth. So I've asked him to do this two ways. First of all, if he can think back to before he was 30 years old, he was a Christian. I want him to put these poker chips, this is his investment, wherever he feels before he was 30 years old, where he was investing. And then we're going to do this a second time, and he's going to show you where he would invest today, and he's going to tell you why. So go ahead, Steve.
Well, I would say a large number of them were here.
Okay.
These are some 5s. Those are 20s. I had I had some chips out here. I definitely was investing in eternity in a lot of ways in my family, in my even in my growing up years and as youth leader and all the activities, teaching at church and Sunday school and all that. So there's definitely some eternal investment. But if I look at it realistically, I'm going to have to put a bigger chunk of chips on the world, because it was large. Most of my interest was to gain influence and significance while I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your investment was thinking quite a bit about this 100-year period and what you were going to gain from it.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to live to be 100, but yeah, if I do.
Well, your mom did. So
Okay. All right. Good.
That's a possibility for you. So and that's the 20s. That stack is the 20s, and then the 5s
and scattered.
Yeah. So as you're thinking, I would love anybody watching this. I want you to think about and do this exercise yourself. I always say there's a difference between the first half of life and the second half of life. And usually what's right in the middle of that is the dark night of the soul, where we've had some kind of suffering or something that kind of breaks our focus on me and switches us over to our focus on the kingdom. And so usually you'll see something similar to this, that the investment is actually for this short lifetime here, and our energy. Now remember, if you look at the parable of the talents, that we're given talents. Right. That was money. That was, $1, $5, and $10, or whatever, rubies or whatever. But the reality is that's actually our time, our talents, plus our money. So where are we investing? And so Steve's showing that heavy investment here, but also investment in the kingdom.
Yep.
If you would redo this exercise with what you know now, today, I want you to change where your investment is for,
Well, I think realistically...
Has it changed at all?
Realistically, there's still an investment here because we are stewarding over some very specific things that God has given us, but yet that still has an eternal perspective.
Yeah.
That we'll never do it perfectly. So I think for me, as I'm thinking through this, okay, now, in my later years, I won't say how many, this is where the 20s are going. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that, and it's not linear, but it's our commitment. So it's my commitment to do things differently. It's not from a world's perspective. It is from a kingdom perspective, no doubt. That makes sense.
What I think is interesting about this is, Steve and I have done a lot of work on our own journeys, and we've also done some work on something that we're going to be bringing to you at some point called Imagine Heaven. Understanding that most of us, our hope is for our days here, And we don't really understand eternal life or focus on eternal life. And as a result, that makes our investment here quite a bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
But as we've, started to think about what really does God have for us? What's the new heaven and the new earth going to look like? What gifts and talents do we bring to that? It's really changed you, hasn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole different perspective on life. And it's far greater. There's a peace that I can't understand, that it's hard to understand. It comes with a shift in investing in kingdom and the resources that I have in kingdom rather than in my own life.
Yeah.
It just is.
Well, and even what we have to give up, right? I think about, like, for myself too, I'm not sure I invested as heavily, some people would have, every chip on here and nothing really out there. I don't think that ever was me. I always had some kind of kingdom awareness like you did. I will say, though, I probably look more like you now. But here's the interesting thing. I mean, I might have only a little bit left. This little bit has an incredible amount of power, though.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And this is like, oh, I must be missing something. This is just too hard. Did I really hear from God, right?
Yeah.
And being able to lay it down to invest like this can be a really, really difficult thing. But interesting that had, you or I invested like this, and left just a little bit out there.
Yeah, the impact will be much less.
Wouldn't it be interesting that for eternity, any investment we make for eternity ripples into eternity? Right? So that just
that one,
like
little there, little here, ripples.
But isn't it amazing? This goes away.
Yeah.
At 100 years, there's no investment into eternity. So now you're going to be in eternity, and that's what you have. But if we think about that, eternity it's like a whole investing forward. You never give up what you have. Now, it's also not self-centered in that, like, you're going to take all this and go build mansions or whatever. But this concept of investment, connecting to this concept of what we hope for and how much we're really engaged in the activity of the kingdom. Like, I believe this really represents the now and not yet, right? Because we should be investing now for eternal life because we're actually living in it.
Yes.
But we're not connected back to the perfection of Eden. But let's not forget that Eden, the whole goal, God set up Eden, and we were supposed to take Eden and expand it out till it covered the whole earth. We're returning to Eden. The new heaven and the new earth will be Eden. And so an amazing thing. I just really want to challenge you on this investment piece and even on your hope meter to just continue to develop your eternal perspective. So that's Colleen's Corner. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Many blessings until we meet again.